Hello, this is Stormy Reinhardt signing on to Scituate Weather Live. I'd like to talk about the recent band of snow that has come through. This is about the second hour or 2.5 hours that it's come through. This is a very heavy snow band. It's lightened up a little bit. It used to be, it was a little bit heavier before. The visibilities have gotten a little bit better, probably to like a half mile rather than a quarter of a mile like it was before. The winds have started to lighten up a little bit, but this is still not over. I still expect a couple more inches before the storm is over, which would be around at the end of the night. Let's see how much additional snowfall we've gotten by going over here. We had our plow guy come and plow the driveway. And as you can see, let me measure in a spot where there's not many snowdrifts. As you can see, it's about 3 inches of snow, or like 2.8 additional inches of snow, which is about 0.8 more than we had last time, which is an hour ago. So it's almost snowing about an inch an hour. That means, that's much more than it was this morning. And that's just an addition. So far, let's go measure the actual snowfall, which is over here. You can see, look at the snowbanks. I mean, we've had over 20 inches of snow here. This is insane. If you look, at least right here, this is a good example right here. This is a little bit drifty, but we'll try it. Oh, actually, no, that has plants in it, so that'd be hard to measure. But let's go over here. This is a little bit of a bigger drift, but right here, this is going to be one of the bigger ones. That is 21 inches deep. That is a lot of snow. Let's go. I don't want to walk over there. It's too deep for me to walk in. But let's continue. Let me measure another one right here. That's only 2 inches deep. Again, this might be drifting a little bit. Let's try to measure up here. Oh wow, that is about 26.5 inches deep. That's just about almost a foot and a half deep. Yeah, that's a foot and 2 inches deep. That's a lot of snow. Last time I checked, it was about 21 inches here. So that's increased 2 inches. So that means it has even 2 inches right here. And if we take a look at the roads, the roads show it too. The roads have gotten continuously worse over the past hour. The past 2 hours, you can see there's one person walking on it, but otherwise there's not many people clearing their driveways off. The visibility has gotten a little bit better. You can see down there too. You couldn't see down there an hour ago. And the roads are completely covered in white, so they're really slippery. So if you don't have four-wheel drive, then I suggest staying home. The snowfall is starting to significantly lighten up the band that we had before that was coming onshore from the north. It was coming from the northeast, northeast is starting to lighten up now and move westward. So we're still going to get a couple inches of snow before this is over. But for right now, this is lightening up. Now, if you continue over here, you can see that if you look at the trees up there, you can also see the wind from the upper levels. I mean, not at least 50 feet high or 75 feet high. You can see that they're still very windy. Over there, there's a big wind gust. I'd say that'd be about 30 miles an hour. It's not nearly what it was last night, which is like 70 miles an hour. Gusts up to 70 miles an hour, but it's still, nonetheless, still 30 miles an hour is pretty powerful. The snow, again, is a very fine consistency. It's very light and very powdery. And you can see over there, the plows are starting to work on the roads over there. You can see that's a pretty big plow, so that will get the job done pretty quickly, actually. It's laying down salt in a very interesting way, actually. It's doing an 8-point turn, or like a 6-point turn. It's very interesting, it's very creative. But it's, the snow, again, is starting to lighten up. Then there's a new high tide expected at 8 o'clock. At 5 o'clock along the coast, this may be really bad. the National Weather Service just released an article about it saying that this may be a very dangerous high tide, considering what has already happened this morning. And especially with, and with the storm coming, just went by, look at the roads, they're all clear. No. Oh wow, this is a big snow gust. But even with the storm is making its closest pass to us very shortly, like in the next 10 minutes or so, it's going to come really close to us, which means that we're going to have the strongest storm surges on shore. So the tides are going to be even worse. They're going to come on even more, and they're going to do even more flooding. So I would suggest, if you haven't already evacuated from the first one, that you evacuate now, because this may even be worse than the first one. And the Scituate High School is available as a storm shelter, and because they closed down school already, it's at Scituate for tomorrow, so you can stay there all day tomorrow, and maybe even on Thursday if they close down school for Thursday too, which might be a possibility. The winds are still kicking up. There's a lot of snow-nados, I like to call them, and as you can see, the snow is drifting all over all of these, all of the snowbanks already, accumulating the snow much more than it would be if there was no banks. But also the strong wind gusts are also blowing around the snow, creating almost like a ground blizzard, as the National Weather Service calls it. If you look over there, look at, see that's what they call in northern Minnesota a ground blizzard, and what that means is they have really strong winds in excess of 30 miles an hour. They have really strong winds in excess of 30 miles an hour, and then they have snow that's very fine consistency because it's really cold there, and it blows and it creates very, very low visibility under a quarter mile, so it classifies for blizzard status, but they don't call it a regular standard blizzard, they call it a ground blizzard, because it's not actually snowing, but it's leftover snow, and that happens for 3 hours because it's in the wide open. That technically, where we just saw that's not a blizzard because it has to last for 3 hours, but that happens in Minnesota or North Dakota because it's so flat there, the wind will stay sustained over 30 for that long. So that does classify as a blizzard, but it doesn't here. But as you can see, it's very, very fine consistency. It's coming right off the snowbanks right there. And it's starting to accumulate a lot more in the driveway too. These last couple bands I put down a lot of snow. Let me measure one more time. See, this is it says about 2 inches of snow right there. It says about 2.8 inches right there. Let's go measure up there for a second. And as you can see, let's walk by this way, and you can see that's like a snowblower came by here, and it measured about it had to go through all these really big snowbanks. This was a massive drift that I was talking about last night. Let's measure how high these are. Let's measure it up here. Actually, that's a snowdrift. That's like up to my waist. That's actually that's up to my chest, and I'm 5'11", so that's very deep. I'm gonna measure that actually. Let me measure what this is right here first. This is about 44 inches deep just from eyeing it right there. If I want to stick it in, this might be a challenge, but it's worth it. And again, this is not going to be an accurate measurement because I'm slant sticking my measurement, as I heard from the Weather Channel. But this is the most accurate I can get without jumping in it. That's exactly pretty much 44 inches. And actually, if you go up there, it's about 47. That's about 4 feet of snow. That's 4 feet of snow. That is a lot of snow. That is 48 inches. This is how big some of the drifts are. And the National Weather Service had 3 feet plus of drifts the night before, so they were right. They were completely right. And if you look out there too, the house completely is caked with snow, which shows you just how strong those winds were blowing the snow against our house. And this happened in most houses actually. And the wind blew all the snow into these crazy drifts that are like weird shapes and everything. That's just because all the houses are make kind of weird angles with the winds, and when the wind blows over them, the snow results in very weird shapes also. And they make actually very pretty shapes. And as you can see, if you didn't shovel your driveway already, it's going to be a very light consistency, but there's so much of it that it's going to be hard to shovel it, even if it's light. If this was heavy snow, that would be dangerous for most people to shovel because you'd probably break your back. Like if it was like raining half the time and snowing, then you wouldn't want to shovel this out. That would be really hard to shovel. But this is not that kind of snow. This is not snowball snow. I'll try to make a snowball right here. And you can see, even if I try to pack it down to the maximum extent, I can make some sort of a snowball here. And then we throw it against the house here. It makes a decent snowball snow. But even if you try to normally compact it like this, normally like with very good snow, with rain and snow, where it rains first and then it snows, or if it's right next to the rain and snow line, then the snow is very, very easy to make snowballs with. This is opposite, and it was very good to make snowballs with on the Saturday storm. But this is the opposite. As you can see, it just disintegrates in midair because there's no water content in it at all. Which that's the reason why the snow ratio is so high, is because there's no water content in this to hold the water content in the snow holds the snowballs together. That's the reason why the snowballs are so good as they are, and the snowballs here are terrible. And that's also the reason why there's so many drifts also. So long story short, make sure you stay off the roads. The visibility is still pretty bad, and there's going to be a lot of coastal flooding down the harbor, and you don't want to drive into any roads that are already flooded. You don't want to put yourself at risk, and you don't want to put the first responders that have to come rescue you when you drive into a flooded road at risk. And make sure that you try not to drive on the roads. They're still very slippery. It's especially inexperienced drivers and people with two-wheel drive. It's going to be really hard, especially in two-wheel drive, because it's not like it's a little bit icy. The roads are completely snow covered. It's very hard to drive in it. Even if it's four-wheel drive, it's extremely hard to drive in it. So that's my advice for right now. It's 2 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon for Scituate Weather Live. This is Stormy Reinhardt signing off.